The E31 BMW 8 Series is one of the best looking cars I have ever seen. It's up there with my opinion of the 300 SL, a Jaguar F-Type, Ferrari 250 California, the Lotus Esprit Turbo. It's beautiful. And it's not just the looks it's got going for it. It is one of the most highly rated BMWs that were ever produced, but they just don't get the same attention as they deserve. This was a car made in the early 90s, and its design is timeless. It still looks incredible, even for today's standards. And this comes from a time where BMW just looked like they couldn't make any errors in any car they produced. And this stands out above all of them. From an era where the E36 M3 came, this towers above it. And it fits my preferred styling of a car 10 years before I was even born. It's incredible. And it is amazing to look at. And it's probably my preferred period of time in terms of BMW styling. You know, the kidney grills on most of their cars were small. Well, look at the E36 M3. Kidney grills were small, and the front always came to a point. It wasn't like today's and the current 8 Series, where it's this bulbous, massive front end that just makes it ugly. You've got the two small kidney grills on the front of the E31, and then the bonnet lines up in the creasing of the protrusion of the kidney grills, and it extends out to match the A-pillars of the window, and then it aligns with the rest of the profile of this car. And this was from the early 90s. It's incredible. And then the pop-up headlights to add to that. Oh my god, it is so nice. And the range-topping 850 CSI, which from all the evidence of the car, it was supposedly going to be an M8, but they didn't release it as an M car. And there's the proof of this with all the VIN numbers, and you can look that up for yourselves. But it had the same classification of a VIN number of an M car, but just wasn't named one. I think that was more because the target audience for this car wasn't the same target audience for the current M series in modern day. And when the 8 Series originally came out, it was seen as the flagship coupe to that of the 7 Series. I imagine to compete with the Mercedes SL, which was the coupe version of the S-Class. You were talking a list price of 100k minimum. And obviously the early 90s, the demographic of people that had 100k to spend on a car weren't the same as they are now. And so it was more businessman focused. They wanted luxury, high performance, but not to be loud about it. And you can see that that's the intention from every element of the car, from its design phase to its production. You can tell this is high caliber, but it doesn't shout about it. It's supposed to go, wow, but be understated. And I love that in a car. You don't see that in modern cars today. And this is what frustrates me somewhat with the current 8 Series that's out, because it doesn't have the same intention. It's inconsistent with what it's trying to be and inconsistent with its predecessor. The modern 8 Series has these fake vents everywhere and has the fake attempted spoiler at the back where it's just a bit of metal stuck onto the top of the boot. And I'm just thinking that's not what the E31 was. The E31 never had a spoiler. And even from the design of that, where it, like I said before, where it's bulbous at the front, and even the fact of producing an M8, the 850 CSI wasn't an M car. What is going on now? I was originally excited to see what they do when they announced that we were releasing a modern 8 Series, but it's not the same intention, it's not the same vision that they had for the original one, which is probably what fans of the original one wanted. So I just don't understand the thought process that they had in the boardroom when they were talking about the production of the new 8 Series. Something I mentioned before in a lot of previous videos is I love cars that are built with the driver in mind. And that's what the E31 has when you step on the inside. It's the same with the E36 M3 as well, because console, the buttons, the air vents are all angled towards the driver. The E31 has the exact same, and it's great to see. When you see any of the interiors of them, they are beautiful. I know it's unrelated, but it's also why I like the Corvette C8 at the minute, how everything is angled towards the driver. And while you do get that ever so slightly in modern BMWs, it's not as pronounced. It's not like the interior designers are scared to properly show their intention that it's a driver's car. It's sort of like it's discouraged. I don't understand why. And if you didn't know already, the 850 CSI had a V12, and it was the same V12 that was used and modified by McLaren to make the McLaren F1. There are so many things about this car that are so special. I find myself going on any auction website that will have one listed up, and I just keep scrolling through the pictures. It's something that would be a dream, even just to sit in person, just look at it in person. It's a dream of mine, and for sure it beats my car River White Fiesta.